Welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast,
where David is about to finally get the help that he has needed for so many years.
I need help?
You need help.
Why do you feel I need more help than you?
I think that you are suppressing traumas deep inside of you that you are afraid to uncover. I don't have those issues. I'm good.
You probably don't have those issues. Yeah. However, I would agree that you have issues of your own that are just as monumentous as the ones that I deal with.
The trouble, though, in having a healthy conversation is when somebody highlights your issue, you respond with the fact that I have an issue.
No, hold on. But Dr. Spirit, didn't she come off attacking me at first?
Well, I'm wondering already.
It wasn't like a...
listen, I hear a whole lot of, we got some pseudo clinicians in here. So I've heard you've got suppressed traumas. I hear he deflects.
Which is true.
Like, okay,
which is
so
true.
you know, so on which part? Both counts or just the one?
Both. All right, so I have... I don't have a lot of... I can't say I'm not emotional because I am highly emotional. Okay. But my emotion shows up where it's a nonchalant, all right, I don't care. I have no problem. Like, let's say, for instance, we get into it and we're friends. I'm okay us not talking ever again. It's not like I don't want to, but I'm okay if we don't because I understand that's how life works.
Well, let me ask you a question, though, because when you say you're highly emotional, I'm curious what you would define as emotional, because I love to tell people there's like two things when we talk about emotions. It's what emotions you're feeling and to the intensity that you're feeling it. So when you say you're highly emotional, what does that mean to you?
I'm thinking that emotional is a lack of emotion, which is emotional. Like my
so
my
you're
saying,
all up in your head already, and I want you in your feelings.
Well, no, yeah, for sure. I'll feel a way.
What way?
In terms of I don't know. How can I say it?
Donni, can you pull up a feelings wheel?
A feelings wheel?
Yeah,
is that something that I Google?
Yeah, Google feelings wheel.
Okay,
right?
Feelings wheel.
So let's say, for instance, we get into it. If you call me the next day, I'll just not answer the phone.
Because what are you feeling? You
I
not
moved past
answering the
it.
phone is the behavior.
Right.
But the behavior is a result of what you're feeling. And there's something that you thought that the behavior is going to do. So
I think the feeling is I can do without you, or
that's not a
I just don't
feeling.
care.
That's a thought.
So what's the feeling? I don't know.
That's
Because I don't feel anything.
Okay, so Donnie's going to pull up a feelings wheel for you.
I have the feelings wheel.
Okay, let me see which one did you find.
I'm on thefeelingswheel.com.
Okay, can you give him that?
Yes.
And so when I'm having you pull up, and
Dang, there's a lot of feelings on there.
Yeah, and that's just some of the feelings, okay? Because one of the things that a lot of people are not able to do, we don't really live in our feelings, which is actually where we should be, because our feelings are really what's driving everything that we do. So the question is, what are you feeling? Because if you can't identify what you feel, you also can't take care of that feeling appropriately. So when you say, I just don't care, that's a conclusion. That's not a feeling.
I feel indifferent.
You feel indifferent.
Yeah.
I don't think he's being honest, Dr. Spirit. I can think of a couple of situations.
Well, but let me say this.
We're going to have to deal with her too.
He is,
real bad.
When you say you don't think he's being honest, he may be being as honest as he can be, because he may not really be connected to his feelings well enough to identify.
Which is true.
What if he's communicated something different to me in situations like actually feeling hurt and disappointed?
Has he said those words?
Yes.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you where that came from? Where I say I feel indifferent, and she's like, "No, you do care," and I'm like, "No, I don't." She's like, "Yeah, yes, you do care," and I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe I care," but I do feel indifferent. So when we had that with the other person, where I'm like, "Well, it is what it is," you're like, "No, you do care," and then she kind of coerced me into feeling that I'm hurt when really I really don't care.
How can she coerce you into being hurt?
You know, you have a conversation with somebody and they're pushing for a particular answer, and I'm honest enough to say, okay, well, maybe I do feel hurt.
So
but I haven't really
does
thought
she
about
project her feeling or what she wants you to feel onto you, and then
All
you
the
take
time.
it and go, okay, I feel hurt?
All the time.
Are you kidding me?
I'll say I'm going to the gym, right?
Okay.
But I don't go to the gym long. I'm in there for a short period of time because it's a challenge for me to get there. I do a little something, hit a couple exercises, then I leave.
Okay.
And I was really, really consistent with that, right? Because the longer I go, the more I do. But she's like, no, that's not good enough. And I'm like, well, it's good enough for me.
Okay, Dr. Spirit, where's the line?
Can I have my session?
Where is the line between projecting my feelings and accountability?
Well, accountability is about somebody else taking ownership of what it is that they need to take ownership for. Projection is when I decide what something is and I put it on another person, right? You telling him that, no, you feel hurt. What you may be trying to do is get him to connect to what he's feeling. But for you to label it is what you imagine that feeling is for him. That's very different. So if you're wanting him to connect, and I wouldn't imagine that he feels indifferent in the moment. Maybe after he goes through his cognitive processes, he thinks about it, and then he moves to, fine, I don't care. I'm indifferent about it. I could take it or leave it. But that may not be how you feel in the moment, because how you feel in the moment is what leads you to then decide to not answer the phone.
That would be good. Can you send me that, Will, so I could just look at it as well? So, yeah, the one that jumped out was indifferent.
When do you
in the
get to
moment, it's like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, why is this? This is weird. Like, why would you do that? That's
So
like
you're
almost
confused in the moment?
confused.
There we
Yes.
go.
Okay. We go from confused to indifferent.
Okay, but why? Because confusion says that I don't understand. If we were properly taking care of confusion, what might you need in the moment in order to better understand?
More information.
Yeah. So do you get more information? Because how do you get that if you just don't talk to the person?
Well, I mean, in the moment, I'll definitely like try to figure out what's happening. But if the answers that you're giving me still don't make sense to me, and they might make sense to the person, but I just don't understand through question. And
You don't understand or you don't agree?
I don't understand why you would think that.
But that doesn't mean you don't understand. It's I can't follow your logic, or I don't agree with your logic. So if that doesn't work for me, then I don't understand. I reject it.
But what if you ever had somebody explain something to you, you just don't understand what they're saying or how they came to the conclusion? I agree with, however the conclusion came, I believe that you believe that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying you're wrong.
Okay.
I just don't, and sometimes I don't understand what you're communicating to me that the issue is.
So then you think that that's a them thing, or you think that that's a you
It could be a me thing. But if I'm trying to get clarity and you're still not explaining it to me, then I'm like, all right, well, what do you want me to do?
So what tools do you have then in order to give yourself clarity? Because those are coping strategies. So if someone came to me and I didn't understand something, another toolkit or something in my toolkit, I may say, can you explain that to me in a different way?
Yes.
Or let me tell you the parts that I do understand, and then let me tell you the parts that I don't understand. Can you connect those two dots for me? And we have, like in therapy, we have something called motivational interviewing, right? But there are all kind of tools that help us better understand people. Oftentimes what happens, though, is our defense mechanisms, if something doesn't make sense to us, or if it feels irrational, or it feels illogical, or it's just defense, it's offensive to our senses, then we'll reject it. We will say, I don't understand, when we actually do. What we really mean is, I wouldn't do it that way, or that doesn't make sense to me to get the outcome that you're trying to get.
I feel that.
Yeah, and that's different.
So what if at the end of the conversation, I guess we're just at a point where I don't agree with, I don't want to say I don't agree with your feelings, but I don't agree with how you came to that conclusion.
Why do you have to?
Well, I mean, what do you do after that? If you don't agree, we just agree to disagree.
But why do you need to agree with how somebody else feels?
I'm not saying I need to agree with how someone feels, because I'm just based on what you are saying. You're saying, well, is it that you're confused or you don't agree? And then you help me realize, okay, well, maybe I just don't agree with how you would do it. I wouldn't do it the way you did it.
Oh, see, but that's different. I don't agree with what you're doing is different than I don't agree with your feelings. So, okay, let me make this make sense for you.
Yeah, now I'm confused again.
So we have three different parts of ourselves, okay? We have our feelings, our thoughts, and our behaviors. Okay? I tell people that your feelings are your driving force, whether you know it or not. They are the things that tell you what you need in order to be good. They're the things that tell you what you need in order to thrive. They're the things that tell you what you need in order to move yourself from danger or bad situations. Your feelings are constantly at play. But if you're not savvy enough in your awareness or connected enough to yourself, you don't know what you feel. So you're just navigating the world through logic and behavior, which are your thoughts. Your thoughts, though, are literally the strategies that your brain comes up with in order to satisfy your feelings.
I'm sorry, your thoughts?
Your thoughts are the strategy that your brain comes up with to satisfy what you're feeling. So let's go back to your friend. Your friend says something that blanks you, right? She says that hurts you or disappoints you, okay? You aren't sure what it is because you're not connected to it. But your brain starts thinking, what am I going to do about this?
Yes.
I can say something to them. I can argue with them. I can not talk to them. I can ask for more information. Like, there's tons of things I can do. What you land on is, I'm just not going to talk to them anymore. Yep. That's a thought, a strategy that you came up with to take care of whatever it was that you were feeling. And the behavior is, when they call, I just don't answer the phone.
Right.
Now, based upon what you were trying to satisfy, that would tell me whether or not that was actually an effective coping strategy. But what you said was, I think in the moment I was confused. Well, if you're confused, what you really need is more information. But you not answering the phone limits your information. So you sit in a state of never satisfying what you need in order to be okay, which ultimately costs you that relationship. That's not necessarily a healthy way of navigating. You lost a friendship because you were confused and never got what you needed in order to move to a more satisfying place.
Okay. I think as you're saying it, I go from confusion to I don't agree. Well,
so what were you feeling? Were you offended? Were you disappointed? Like, let's get into first and foremost. Again. Why is there we go. I'm glad we're gonna get something today.
Yeah.
But help me while you're pulling that up. Help me understand why you felt that you needed to agree.
Well, I didn't feel the need to. I think that's the problem. I don't feel the need to agree.
But you did feel the need to understand. So when this happened, his initial response was to send a response, and then he erased the response, right?
And what was the initial response? Like, what was the point
his
of the
initial
conversation?
response was, wow, why did this happen, right? Like, why did this disconnection happen, basically? And then he removed it like, I just don't care. And I'm like, well, if you were originally going to respond, then I think you do care. And so after communication about it, it was a situation that was more on him but lightly involved me. So I said, well, I don't handle conflict like that. I am going to call and get to the bottom of it because I want to know what happened, right? There's no reason for this.
So let me just make you aware right off the bat, like, this is a dirty fighting technique, because what your answer was I'm going to hijack this relationship and just withdraw. We have a relationship, right? And all a relationship is how one thing interacts with another.
Yes.
You guys have a conflict that escalates to a point where you don't agree and you don't know what else to do about what's happening. And your answer is, I'm just not going to answer. So you hold the relationship hostage by just taking you and the relationship, and the other person has no engagement, no communication, no anything until or if you decide to plug back in.
But so after the conversation with me and Donni had, I did call.
No, that's not what happened. I called and I got some insight as to what the problem was. Before I could call him and share with him what the insight was, he called me and said, hey, did you hear anything? Because during the conversation, we were actually on a podcast episode, and I was texting that person, and I'm like, oh, I'll talk to them after this. He called me to follow up to see had I had any conversation, and at that time I didn't. And I'm like, we're supposed to talk in the next 15 minutes or so. And so we do, and he asks about it again. So to me, if you're following up with me because I am the lesser conflicting situation for you. You rather talk to me and kind of hear about what happened to determine whether or not it's worth your time to interact.
So I'm just going to point out a couple of things for you guys in this relationship. Okay. one, enabling behaviors that may result from poor communication or poor conflict skills. The other part of this is I'm curious why you feel the need to be the interceder or the person that steps in to make things okay, which doesn't require him to then get better in this skill set to learn good problem solving and effective communication. But what also does it do for you? What's the payoff for you to be the middle person that smooths everything out?
That's strong. But I wasn't necessarily the middle person. I was also involved. I didn't know that I was involved until he brought it to my attention. So his stance was, I'm just going to ignore it.
Yeah.
My stance was, I'm going to confront it.
So, but you're involved in his conflict with somebody else?
Somebody had a conflict with the two of us. Yeah. Okay. So, and I had no idea.
Okay.
David brought it to my attention, and I'm like, oh, this person really does have this conflict. He wanted to ignore it. I wanted to get to the bottom of it. I wasn't trying to fix them. I was trying to fix our issue.
So you were trying to fix all of us. So you were trying to fix them too.
Yeah, I just really wanted to understand what we did. Like, why would you cut us both off at the same time, right? And it had a lot to do with this person misunderstanding a decision that we made or didn't make, right? Collectively. So I didn't want to ignore the issue. I wanted to confront it.
But do you see exactly what it is that I'm saying? That something that started out as a conflict that was outside of your purview, that he was aware of, it was in his purview, he was managing it, then he didn't take it there to continue to manage it. He brought it to you, then he withdraws, then you step up, and then you resolve. Is that like a common way that you guys navigate? Are you the smoother over? And don't make me ask y'all producers, because I could, you know. Are you the smoother over typically after he kind of ruffles feathers and withdraws?
I am for sure the get to the bottom of it. I don't know that I'm the smoother over because I am the get to the bottom of it however it has to happen.
Okay, pause. Y'all, just yes or no, is she the smoother over? Oh, okay, I got it. All right, just look at your people. Well,
I guess it depends on what smooth over means, right? I like to solve problems.
Okay,
is that synonymous of smoothing over?
Well, it could just be a personality trait. You like to solve problems, so anytime there's a problem, then you're the solver.
I'm a fixer, Dr. Spirit, and it's a problem for me.
Is it?
Oh my God!
She want to fix stuff. I'm like,
how far does that go back for you though?
I don't know how far it goes back for me, but I am like the friend who is usually neutral, or not neutral, but I get along with everybody.
Okay. And
I am the person where he might not be okay in a particular circle. I am okay in that circle. I just want us to all get along. Like, can we just, I'm that person.
Did you do that in your early adulthood?
Did I do that in my early adulthood?
Yeah, were you always the friend that wanted everybody to get along, so you just kind of make sure I can go back and forth?
So I could have seriously a bit of a split personality.
Okay.
Because one side of me says I could care less about any of this, right? One side of me can be very cutthroat, while the other side of me can be very, let's all just figure it out. Okay. And I believe it depends on the weight of the pain, right? Do I really care about these group of individuals enough to get involved? How does it affect my life? Or I don't. If I care about you, I am for sure a fixer.
Okay, so what you're telling me is about your origin story, your evolution, and how you became what you are, and how skilled you are at when you decide to use it. Was that you in high school? Was that you in elementary school?
Yeah, if I could think. So I think the way that I process it as I'm listening to you is it could also be characteristic of a leadership trait. In meaning I have always, since a very young age, been like team captain, team leader, team this. And that person is usually given the responsibility of solving the problems or being the final decision maker amongst a group. So yes, as early as I can remember, I've always been that person. I'm also an only child, so maybe that holds some weight.
So you were conditioned to be this way. You recognize that this is part of your, not just your nature, but more so perhaps your nurture. But you also recognize that for you, in some cases, it's a problem. So the question is, do you want to continue to be what you were conditioned to be, or would you like to be reconditioned to be something else?
Did we finish, David?
Oh, okay.
I think she's working the room. Yeah, she's working the room.
And real talk, listen, there is no such thing as good or bad. It's really about how your life is functioning. Are you functioning in ways that allow you to thrive? Or do you recognize there's places and spaces that don't work for you, but you really don't give yourself permission or what you need to do it differently?
Here's how I honestly feel about it. I enjoy helping people. In my mind, it's helping, right? But there's also some resentment that I have with myself for being this fixer, because it often puts me in unfavorable situations.
Well, let's be aware that the fixer is not the helper. To help somebody means to assist them.
Okay.
To fix is to be the doer, which is the enabler, because they never have to do, because you will step in and do it for them. So oftentimes what people don't realize is the very experience that they are resentful of is the thing that they are creating for themselves.
Make me stop.
I think I might just did.
Oh, gosh.
Right, because you can't unknow what you know. So every time you recognize in the moment, I'm doing it again, I'm doing it again, those are opportunities for you to choose something different. And resentment is a feeling that's a pain point. To the intensity that you feel it, it's the thing that's supposed to help you recognize, I don't want this. When things hurt you, that is your body's way of telling you, this ain't it. Okay, so I just want you to be aware of painful feelings, because that is your body's way of cueing you, this doesn't work for us. We can't thrive like this.
Yes. I fully agree with that. I do. But why? So when I see a situation that I feel I can add value to, and I don't, I feel like I am not being who I'm purposed to be.
No, that's a conclusion.
That's a conclusion.
What do you feel?
Let me go
that's
to
a thought.
Well, I feel guilty.
There we go.
I feel
so
guilty.
Where did you learn in your life that it's your job to help people because you have the ability to? And I just want you to think about that. You just talked about your conditioning. Your whole life you've learned and probably have begun to volunteer to go, oh, I can do that. I've got that. But you also don't recognize how you disable people from learning how to be able to carry their own or to be able to do what you can do. You know, and I give you guys a great example. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have 7 children. Okay. And my oldest at the top is like about to be 28. My youngest at the bottom is about to be 6. But her brother right above her is 2 years older. He's already been through everything she's been through at 6. He should be able to do everything that she can do, or most of it, right? If he were to step in every single time that she's trying to develop herself, to develop her skills, to learn and increase her competency, if he just jumped in, I can do it. Here, I can do it faster. I can do it better. I know exactly how to do it. She would never get what she needs for herself, for her own development. So it doesn't just affect her competency, but it also affects her self-esteem. Because if you don't know what you're capable of, if you can't really produce and have progress for yourself, what does that cause you to feel and believe about yourself internally? So you may think that you're helping, but in some ways, oftentimes you're actually hurting. And then you're resentful about the resources that you use, your time, your money, your heart, your everything. So how do you free yourself up and also empower them to help themselves?
I feel like that's what I was doing, or the thought that I have is that I was, now I'm confused. Am I a fixer or am I a helper? I think fixer is a very trendy word that people understand. I don't really get into doing things for somebody. That situation aside, because unless I'm directly involved, and I was involved there. But going back to David in the gym, he communicated some dissatisfaction with his physique. Okay. And he said, I am going to work out. Now, he thought it was funny to go into the gym and literally just touch some equipment.
I did more than touch the equipment at the spirit, okay?
Well, he said, I drove by, I had my clothes,
exactly.
I got on the treadmill.
He would
lifted some stuff.
He would touch the equipment. He might push it 2 or 3 times and then come in and feel, you know, this way. But it's not serious to him. He's joking.
Hold on. No.
She said, you better tell
I'll
the
do
truth
enough
right
to where I start to feel the burn and then I'm leaving.
Feel the burn. That's what we're supposed to put. So for you, is that your thing, or is the real deal his dissatisfaction, which is the feeling, is not intense enough yet?
It's not that
for
intense.
him to actually be motivated enough to change it.
It wasn't serious enough, but he looks great now. But there was a time that
Thanks, Donni.
You do look great. You look great. Okay, for sure.
Okay,
but there was a time that he was growing a dad bod that he was dissatisfied with, right? Okay. And he expressed this to me. And so when I would see him tap this equipment, or when I would invite him to work out and let's get a trainer and he's saying no, I felt like I was helping him by not being proud of you going in the gym and touching. I'm not celebrating that with you because I know what your dissatisfaction is. And I felt like the opposite of celebration in that situation was accountability. Like, come on, Dave, you need to get a trainer. You're not going to do this yourself.
No, that's not accountability. That's judgment or critique.
Oh my God.
That's how I felt.
Accountability is, did you do what you said you wanted to do today?
It started there. And then it was, no, I'm not doing that. And
No. That's not. So here's my rationale. If I think, you might feel me. If I think I got to go in there and really push it to the max, I'm not going at all.
Because
I don't want to go that hard. I don't want a trainer pushing me because it's not that serious for me.
So do you hear, Donna, you hear his goals that he has for himself. He's explaining to you now.
If I can go and do a little something, boom, and there's no pressure, I'll go. But if I know it's a big responsibility, I'm not going to go. So my thought process is, I'm going to go in this joint. I know it's no pressure, so let me just do a little of this, do a little of that, do a little of this, and then I'm out.
He would never let this slide. With his clients, David would never let this slide.
Yes, I would.
But
wait. It's based on their goals.
What says that he has to let it slide? If they're his clients, then he's getting paid to do a job. If this is how he chooses to live his life, and this is where his own boundaries are, then what's wrong with that?
Yes.
So then is it fair to say then don't speak to me about your physical dissatisfaction? Because, okay, so I can say that I don't want to talk about it.
That's a boundary.
Okay.
Right? That's a boundary.
You can no longer communicate.
Is the boundary based on her inability to not try to fix me?
No, the boundary is based upon her comfort. And what she says is, I don't want to hear you complain about something that you're not willing to fix to my level of comfort.
There's a lot of things you can do with $500. I mean, you can have a night out with your significant other. You could buy some really expensive shoes. Well, really nice shoes are about double $500. You could buy a course where you can learn something for $500. But I have something better for you to do with the $500. I want to meet with you every single morning for the rest of your life. Well, maybe not the rest of your life, but every morning, Monday through Friday, for the rest of the year. I have information and game that have allowed me to build a successful business, a successful community, and a successful life all the way around. But I want to share that with you. But the only way we can accomplish this is not me selling you a course, not me giving you a one-on-one consultation, because even with that, you'll get the information, but you'll need more. I want to meet with you every single morning. Now, would I meet with someone every morning for $500 for a year? And the answer is yes. Actually, we've been doing this thing since 2017. We have what's called the Morning Meetup. Every single month, we have a theme, whether it's social media, whether it's motivation, whether it's strategy, whatever it is, we have a theme for the month. And every morning in that month, we have a conversation around that topic. And I am giving a wealth of knowledge, not only myself, but a lot of friends, a lot of people that you see on this podcast. They join every single week. So you need a community of people that you can grow with, and you need a coach. I'm your coach. The Morning Meetup is your community. Go to themorningmeetup.com. It's $499, and I will meet you every single morning for an entire year. Give it a shot. It don't be real complaining. It'd be like funny complaining. You know what I mean? It's like it's not like I come there crying like, yo, I'm just fat and I can't take it. It's not like that.
What she's saying is, I don't want to hear your mouth. You ain't for real. So I'm not going to entertain this.
Exactly.
And she doesn't have to.
That's fair.
But-
I'll never tell you about my gym.
No, but
episodes.
here's the flip side to that. When he actually does take something seriously and do something, and he can see a muscle developing.
Oh, then he's super happy.
He comes in with the tight shirts on.
That's what I'm into.
Because he's the schmedium?
Yeah, he's the
like, let me
schmedium.
put that
He's got
like
the
it.
schmediums on, and he's got his arms perched, and he's
Yeah.
like, notice anything different? Like, that's his posture.
So, Donni, so what you say, he's doing him.
Yeah, let me be happy.
But what is it about him doing him that doesn't always work for you because you think he should do or be something different that you perceive to be better?
I guess it's because he communicated his original desire, and I can't unhear that. I'm
That's
a coach. What I do for a living is hold people accountable.
Are you his coach?
I have been.
Are you his coach in that capacity?
I should be.
Had you guys agreed
Why?
on that, or you just decided I'm going to be your coach?
Can I tell you something that happened?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
I'm on this journey.
I'm enjoying this. Go ahead.
So me and my shouts out to me, Demetrius. He has this thing set up where I was doing 30 push-ups in the morning, 30 push-ups, 60 push-ups a day, at least one in the morning, one in the evening, right? And then we moved it up to 100.
Okay.
So part of my process is I'll do like 35 in the morning, I'll do 35 in the afternoon, and then 30 before I go to bed.
Okay.
So we're in Miami, and this is like really goal shaming if you think about it. We're in the lobby, we're about to go somewhere, and we're waiting on the car, and I say, yo, let me get down and do some of my push-ups.
Okay.
And she ridicules me. She jokes me so bad about me doing my push-ups. And puts it on Instagram and everything. Tell me what part I'm lying about. Tell me what part I'm lying about.
Can I please set this up for you?
Yeah, he's just telling me his version. You want to tell me yours?
Okay.
There's not a different version, I'm telling you.
There's
We
always
are
a different
at
version.
the St. Regis Hotel
Okay.
in Bal Harbor.
Okay.
We are in the lobby waiting for our black car service to pick us up.
That wasn't a black car. I ordered Uber XL.
She's
I don't
wait,
do them
wait, 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 wait.
expensive.
She's telling me her version.
We got picked up in a black car.
It was a black vehicle, yes. Go ahead.
We're waiting for our ride. We are in the lobby of the St. Regis. St. Regis is a 5-star hotel. It's white glove service. It's all these things. We're sitting in the lobby. David decides to put his hands on that lobby floor
Okay.
to do push-ups
Okay.
with all of these people walking by
It wasn't
us.
no all
Wait,
these
wait,
people,
wait,
Donni.
wait,
Cut it out.
Okay, there were a couple of people walking by. The valet is outside. They're looking at him, and then they're looking at me because they're assuming we're together. So now I'm feeling
She's
like,
I don't know you.
I don't. You know what I mean?
So this violates your standards.
He is on the lobby floor. It violates anybody's standards.
No, his standards were just fine. It
He was
violated
being
your
funny.
standards.
He didn't even do the 60 push-ups. If we're being
did
totally
30.
honest,
I
you
did
did
30.
like 10. He thought it was funny.
Okay.
When I pulled out my camera to record it, he put on a show for the camera. Okay,
That's what I
he's
do.
on the lobby floor.
So
We're going
you
to
pulled
eat.
out a camera, so you also increased the behavior that
I
you
pulled
were
out the
not
camera. I
wanting.
did. But you know what else he did? Because this is also what was bothersome. We went to breakfast to eat.
Can we stay on the push-up thing?
Oh, no.
She's trying to paint a picture about who
He
you
ate
are.
his tacos with those same hands that he did push-ups with.
Okay.
I'm fuming.
Okay. Why? Because
Dr.
Donni, none
Spirit.
of this has anything to do with you.
But he's with me doing this in my presence.
So is he a reflection of you? Like, what's the story that you tell yourself?
We're a reflection of each other. I believe
According to who?
I according to me.
Oh, there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is really Donnie's world, and he is your sidekick.
If the shoe were reversed and me and David were hanging out, and what could I do? If I were dressed scantily, everything showing, David would distance himself. It's a reflection of him.
This is actually a reflection of the nature of you all's relationship.
Maybe
But
that
ask
is.
her when that's ever happened.
It's
where I
never
distance
happened,
myself.
but still.
So she created a scenario in her mind
Okay.
that I would do
Okay.
what she's doing to me.
Okay.
But it's never happened before.
So, and then do you guys recognize like this is a bubble? Like you guys can decide that you are a reflection of each other? and then feel very serious about how the other person is behaving.
We have fun in our bubble.
And then nobody
we have
else,
a good bubble.
And nobody else may see it the same. Like you may see yourselves as a reflection of each other, but nobody else in another room, like everybody in the Regis may not have looked at you at all. They may have been like, what's up with dude on the floor? Or they may have looked at dude and been like, yo, I need to hit some push-ups too.
100%.
Like based upon their own value systems.
Maybe.
Can we back to that story where I talk to the, so, and I'm trying to understand because I do feel indifferent. Like I don't feel anything. It is what it is, right? Okay. People come and go out of your life, and I think I've experienced. I think we've all experienced it enough to know that you can't control people anyway.
Wait, where?
And I'm sure I know you're going to go. Let me finish the story because I know you're going into that real quick. Hold on. Okay. So I did call the person, actually, to apologize for her being offended. Okay. I tried to explain to her that I didn't mean to offend you. So I'm hoping you hear my heart. But I think I was more. Oh, there was a feeling on this wheel.
Yay!
It was almost betrayed because I have been nothing but amazing to this person for years.
So you felt that something else was owed to you in that moment?
I don't think anything's owed to me, but I'm like, out of this situation, like our whole relationship up until now, all the things that it's not like I want you to do something for me. I just can't understand why out of all the long history of everything that I've helped you with, you've helped me too, but I've helped you with, and our relationship has been me helping you. You're mad at me for something now. And and you know it's not intentional, you just felt the way about it, right? You know I didn't intentionally try to hurt your feelings.
But it doesn't mean that her feelings weren't hurt.
I understand. But so I think the feeling, to your question, was either let down or betrayed or resentful.
Okay, so maybe. We have two people who are hurt in the moment, who have a long-term relationship with each other.
But I don't know if I felt hurt.
Okay. Well,
withdrawn or numb
feelings. Those are pained feelings. You were pained in the moment. Okay. But let me ask you something else, because I think that this connects an important dot. You said people come in and out of your life. Yeah. Like it's just kind of the way that it is. And I'm wondering for you about that experience, because if that's a belief, that also could lead to your being indifferent and having relationships that you feel like you could take or leave. Because if your history has been people just come in and out and relationships are fluid, you may not really value making relationships be long lasting, because that may not be something that's on your radar. So like, where did you learn that people just kind of come in and out of your life? And that's the experience that everybody has, because that's not true.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Where did you learn that doesn't happen?
No, I don't want you to ask a question with a question. But I'll give it to you as an example. Yeah. Most of my relationships I have had for my entire lifetime. And I have worked with thousands of clients over the years who have had similar. I have friendships that go back to elementary school. Hell, I was just supporting my best friend from middle school through her father passing. My relationships are concrete and long-lasting. I've been with my partner for over 20 years now. 3 of my 4 grandparents are still on the planet and have been active in my life. My parents are still married. I went to 1 elementary school, 1 middle school, 1 high school. So my experience may be very different from yours. Right. But I don't assume when I navigate relationships that every relationship is going to be solid and forever. But I also don't think that every relationship is just fluid, so I could take it or leave it. But for individuals who have that experience, they do tend to be indifferent about relationships. Yep. I can give you an example. Kids who may have had military parents where they moved a lot, or who went to a lot of different schools where they had to constantly be making friends, or there was instability in their housing, so they bounced around. They can kind of be more withdrawn, or their attachment styles can be more avoidant or more anxious attachment. And so what they may do when relationships look like they're fragile or in peril, they just cut it real quick. I can take or leave. I don't have to do this. You know what? We can just call it quits right here. We had a good run. I'm good.
That's a bad thing?
Well, is that what you actually wanted in that friendship? Because I hear when we hit a conflict, I was pained. But after I worked my way through it and let my defense mechanisms and my history get involved, my answer was just to cut.
Not really cut. Not like cut to where, all right, don't ever talk to me again. Cut to almost like detach from being in a position where I can be taken advantage of again.
Okay, well, let me ask you, though, in a different way. Do you think that it's healthy? Because those are conclusions that you got to. Like, oh, now I think that this is what's possible.
Right.
So you're kind of projecting potential in the same way that Donni was kind of projecting potential, but in a different way. Do you think it's healthy to be indifferent about significant or long-lasting relationships in your life?
I don't think it's healthy to... So I have a couple relationships where we've been through some like personal things. Donni, my best friend Brandon. I mean, it's like we've been through some things. Just because we've known each other for a long time doesn't mean you've been there, I've been there in real pivotal moments of my life.
Okay.
So I look at it as a cool friend, but we haven't like been through anything that lets me know that I need to necessarily fight for this relationship.
Well, does that mean, let me make sure. Does that mean we haven't been through enough that I have significant value for this relationship? Like it's not a meaningful relationship? Okay.
Probably, but I also, and maybe this is just my paradigm, that if you involve yourselves in those types of relationships, you do leave yourself open to be hurt. If it was the same thing with Donni, it would be different.
So you believe that having significant relationships with people leave you open to be hurt? No, so you're not vulnerable in relationships?
No. I'm talking about a relationship that doesn't have any depth. So why would I leave myself open to be, especially if you see a sign, let's say for instance, I see a sign where this person doesn't really care about me, they care about themselves.
Okay, that's
just different. Because we have a long-standing history doesn't make it healthy for me to hold on to that relationship just because.
Yeah, I get you on
and
that.
we didn't have any. We've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
But it was like no depth in the relationship. It wasn't
that's
we shared
Though.
moments.
If we don't have depth, because I look at you and there's a character flaw, meaning I think you're an opportunist or you have an ability to hurt me, then that's a boundary that says I'm going to protect myself.
Yes.
I'm not going to allow myself to be vulnerable with you based upon what I know.
Correct.
That's different though than saying that all relationships where they're not substantive or significant have the likelihood to hurt me.
Well, I think every relationship has the likelihood to hurt you.
Precisely. As every relationship has the possibility of helping you and growing you and all of those things. So, but do you navigate your relationships from a place of protection where you're constantly working not to be hurt?
Well, it depends on the relationship.
Okay. So how do you determine how you navigate your relationships?
Based on, I guess, the signs that we've shown each other that we can trust each other.
So we test each other kind of a little bit as we go? Or
isn't that, that's not how it works?
Well, everybody does it different.
Okay.
Some people just give unbridled trust up front. I trust you to be exactly who you are, and in the event that you hurt me, then I'll adjust. Depending on what the transgression is, I may cut the relationship entirely, or I may just fall back, and there's places and spaces that we won't go. Like everybody does relationship different. So I'm just curious how you do relationship.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever cut a relationship. It's just I fall back. I don't need to play you that close anymore. If I see the sign of, especially, like watching someone treat other people a certain way, and maybe it's just a matter of time before it comes to me. So once I see a sign, it's like, all right, well, I'll back. I don't necessarily think the way I operate in that space is unhealthy necessarily. So
well, I would just say if it works for you, then obviously it's healthy, but just be open that anybody is capable of anything.
100%.
I mean, we're all the villains and the heroes in somebody's story.
Yeah.
So yes, I can look at you and know that you're capable of doing a particular thing, so I shouldn't expect that you won't ever do that to me.
Correct.
But just because I see you that way with somebody else doesn't likely make it that you will do that to me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
don't
about
address
how
it
you
till it comes
navigate.
around to me.
Yeah. So in this situation with the person where you withdrew, did you actually try to repair, or were you like, oh, well, F it, that's what it is? We good.
No, I made the call, apologized, and extended my hand. Let's sit down and kind of talk through it. And they weren't that interested in getting, well, they said they were, but they was like, yo, I just can't make it. And that was that. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm not hurt either way. So I'm indifferent. I'm numb to that situation. I know that, and Donni helped me work through, okay, you talked for a while and you had that at least have the conversation. So I did. They didn't take it.
I would say the indifference might
forward.
be a coping strategy. It's
Probably.
like, I'm not going to let you hurt me, so now I'm just not going to care either.
And that seems extremely logical. I think everyone should operate that way. No?
No, it's okay. It's okay to be hurt by, we can't have the relationship that I wish that we did. It's not, well, since you played me to the left and you won't give me the relationship that I want, then now I'm going to be indifferent. You're not necessarily indifferent. You just have to accept that you can't have the relationship that you were hoping you could repair and build back to.
On the wheel.
It's okay to be hurt or disappointed.
Yeah, on the wheel it's numb. So that's the best description I have.
Okay, so let me tell you then. Numb is where the body goes when it hurts to feel anything else, because you can't stay.
Numb is where the body goes when it hurts to feel anything else.
Yeah, because we can't stay in heightened senses of pain for too long. Our bodies aren't hardwired to be that way. So numb is where it goes in order to disconnect. Right? That way you can maintain your emotions, you can maintain your mind. Like, otherwise you could become psychotic. You would have a break from reality. So when you go numb, that just means I don't want to feel this. So I'm just going to move to not feeling anything, because to feel this and to feel this to the level that I feel it, that's not a healthy place for me to exist. So we'll just disconnect.
So maybe it's not numb. Maybe it's just indifferent. Because I don't think it hurts.
But what do you do? At what point do you have to force yourself to just be numb about a thing? So you think about friendship breakups and relationship breakups. Like, you can't stay in a place of pain forever. And then, like in this situation, when you reach out and you try to resolve something and that person doesn't really have sincere interest in resolving it, or whatever the relationship is, for me, one of my coping mechanisms really is to just tap out. Like, I go into this whole routine of meditation and journaling until I am numb to the feeling. I am numb to that person's name being mentioned. I'm numb to the thought of them. I'm very indifferent on
Well, let me ask you though, are you numb, or have you resolved or extinguished the feeling so you no longer feel that? That's different.
How do you ever fully know or know that you fully resolved a feeling? So I have a strong belief that we're never really healed, and we're constantly in a state of healing, and that it's possible that for most of us, we're just one trigger away from realizing that we're still very connected to that issue.
Well, healing is simply saying that something is resolved, I'm at peace with it, it's at rest, it's no longer affecting my life or my functionality.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you don't feel what you do, right? You can think about a friendship, and when you reflect on it, it hurt.
It can make me sad.
Yeah, you can think about a trauma. You're not going to ever be to the point and go, oh, I'm healed. So now when I think about what happened to me, I'm no longer angry about it or frustrated about it or remorseful about it. No, it's I am not debilitated by the things that I feel.
That is really good, Dr. Spirit. Healing is just your process of being able to move on with your life.
In a way that still allows you to have maximum functionality. So when we talk about mental health or we talk about mental illness, it debilitates you. It lessens your functionality. It impairs your ability to operate at your maximum potential, not just cognitively in the way that you think, not just emotionally in the way that you feel, but physically. Also.
So this is like when someone's experiencing a breakup or something and they don't have the energy to get out of bed.
Oh, it can be worse than that. When I'm experiencing a breakup, depending on how much I love the person, I can actually experience something that's called broken heart syndrome that releases certain chemicals, certain hormones into my bloodstream that literally enlarges the left ventricle of my heart, that changes my blood pressure, that changes my motivation, that changes the way that I think. It impairs judgment. It changes my microbiome. This is why some people literally die of a broken heart. These are real things. These are, people literally we have folks that have more heart attacks like after a natural disaster and die from that than they do in the natural disaster, because what happens to us emotionally also happens to us physically in our bodies. So recovery is not just I'm trying to get over it emotionally. No, you are physically going through certain things that you experience. In the same way that when you fall in love, it changes your hormones. It literally kind of that rose-colored glasses, it's not rose-colored glasses. Your brain is literally bathed in hormones, all kind of dopamine and endorphins. It makes your heart race. It makes your pupils dilate. It makes you get sweaty. It changes your breathing, like you physically feel your emotions throughout your body. That's why your wellness is so important, because the traumas that you feel that you don't heal, just because you're numb to it, doesn't mean that your body isn't feeling the physical effects for a lifetime. That's why, especially when you look at people of color, this is why we die young from heart attacks and strokes, and we have early onset dementia and all of these things, because what we're carrying in our body, we're emotionally disconnected, but our bodies are physically going through the process. That's why it's so important for us to learn these things, because we're suffering and we don't even know it.
So for people who don't believe in not mental health, but therapy for it and doing that work, where do they start? Like the people who are watching us right now, wherever they're watching us, what's their start to say, I need help. I recognize that I've been sitting in issues talked about in this conversation. I need help, but I don't know what that looks like.
I say usually it's education. And what happens oftentimes for people that really need it, they won't show up in our office, but they'll show up to their primary care providers. They'll sit in there over and over. They'll be going to the emergency room thinking that they're having heart attacks. They'll be going to their primary care provider. Their hair is falling out. They have dermatological issues. They have sinus infections. They have irritable bowel syndromes. They have chronic backaches. They have chest pain. They have all of these things, and they'll go to their primary care provider, and they'll be like, well, we can't find anything. There's no reason. Nothing's wrong with you. And it's like, no, there is. The issues are in the tissues. And you recognize that you have emotional things that you have not healed. And unfortunately, we have been taught that people that do this work, that means that you're losing your mind, and somehow that's a bad thing. Because if there's ever anything that we should always be 1,000% in control of, it is our brain, right? So the first thing that people think is, I'm not crazy. And it's like, no, of course you're not. You're surviving. And what we want to do is move you from surviving to thriving. You have already survived whatever has traumatized you. Now we need to deal with the wound. And so you telling me that you don't believe in mental health, okay. You can also tell me you don't believe in heart murmurs, but you can die from one. You can also tell me you don't believe in high blood pressure, but you got it. You can also tell me you don't believe in asthma, but you over there wheezing, right? So, people don't realize that their behavior is literally symptoms. You show me your behavior, and I can tell you how you're functioning.
Have you been having any back pain lately?
Nope.
Shortness of breath?
Nah.
Headache?
Nah, I think I'm cool.
Insomnia, irritable bowel syndrome. Are we self-medicating? Do we drink a lot? Do we smoke a lot? Do we do edibles? Do we do melatonin? Do we do caffeine?
Could it also be masked by an intense focus on work?
Oh, absolutely. My type A high performers, most of the professional people that you meet, most of your millionaires, your athletes, your anybody that's at the top of their game, because oftentimes we take that trauma and that anxiety builds up, and we use that to just go, 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 go.
I am wearing the t-shirt for that.
Come on. Most of us are. Most of us are.
Whenever
Is that a bad thing?
Well, is it? Because
well,
like
nothing in itself is either bad or good, right? Like you're thinking about it in these polar things. I think that everything where you win in one area, you lose in another. The question is, though, if you never resolve it, yes. So you get the status, you get the ambition, you get the money, but then you die early. Or you go through all of these processes, but you're not enjoying it. Everybody else is popping bottles around you while you're depressed or anxious. You got to get high in order to get up in the morning, and you got to get low in order to go to sleep. These things are not normal, and they don't have to be this way. And so the only time where I really look at folks and I go, okay, so listen, before we start talking about healing your trauma, let's talk about how you use your trauma in order to show up well in the world, right? So there are some people that I have to have real serious conversations with, because I go, you need to be prepared that if you use your trauma for your craft, if I help you to heal yourself, you may not see the world in the same way. And I'm not going to have folks killing me. You have to decide, because you may not be able to make another album after this. You may not be able to deliver that Oscar winning performance.
That's scary. I was just about to say, how can I hire you? But my traumas have been pushing me to success.
Well, but imagine if your trauma has been pushing you to success and you've been working at 70 or 80%, what might it look like for you to get to 95 or 99?
Do you have any case studies?
Tons.
Okay.
I always love to say that it's like the California raisins. You can whisper my name in the streets.
You can get to 99 and say, I don't need all this business stuff. I need a 1-bedroom apartment. I need to be free. I hug trees and stuff.
No, and from the business perspective, though, let me say this. It is so important. I like for all, especially entrepreneurs, like I am so serious about them getting mental health care, because fun fact that's not so fun. Roughly 1/3 of all entrepreneurs have an unmanaged or an undiagnosed mental illness.
Roughly a third
of
all entrepreneurs
are believed to have either an unmanaged or an undiagnosed mental illness. So their mental health is actually holding them back. It may be the thing that leads them to start businesses, because oftentimes they don't want to work for somebody else because they either can't get up, they have conflicts, their brain moves 1,000,000 miles a second, so they have 20,000 ideas they have.
What's that mental illness called?
Which one?
The brain moves 1,000,000 miles a minute.
That's not necessarily a mental illness,
okay,
but there's symptoms. That can be everything from anxiety to ADD to bipolar disorder. There's a lot of different things. So it's not one thing in and of itself. It's a battery of symptoms that tell us that you likely are suffering from a particular condition. But think about it as an entrepreneur. If you have a mental illness and then you are trying to operate a business and you are affecting everything around you, not just the business, but your employees, you're affecting their families, you're affecting the stability of the community, you are affecting everything as a business owner. And business owners are the main ones that won't go get a therapist. They want an executive coach, they want a life coach, they want anybody else but somebody that will come in to be able to say, let me help you heal the thing that's holding you back, because of what they believe that it means instead of what it actually is. Right? It's like somebody saying, I have migraines, but I'm not going to go to the doctor. I'm not going to go to a neurologist. Let me just go grab this goody powder, and we just going to make that work.
All right, so
that's me.
About
okay. Yeah, I just want you to be aware of all the symptoms that you may be suffering from, in all seriousness, that you don't have to. Right? So many people are suffering with things that they don't have to suffer from because they don't realize that it's part of an illness.
So let's hypothetically make up an avatar.
Come on.
Someone who occasionally suffers from migraines. Their brain works 1,000,000 miles a minute. It causes them to procrastinate significantly. And
every restaurant they go to, they order appetizers and dessert.
We're talking about a hypothetical avatar. They procrastinate significantly, but when they start doing the work, it's like it's deep focus. So they can procrastinate for 3 days out of the week.
Why did they procrastinate?
There's no explanation that they can identify.
Oh, well, we'd have to go down that rabbit hole.
Gosh darn it.
Because see, the migraine, just so you know, in order to have migraines, and I'm not a medical doctor, so I want to not speak out of turn, but I believe that it's roughly like 14 to 15 days out of the month in order for you to have, to be clinically diagnosed with migraines. Saying that you have migraines, saying that you have this avatar, that procrastinates, I would want to know. Sometimes it's a failure or a sense of failure or self-esteem that does that, but sometimes on the complete opposite end, it's a fear of success. What if it does work? Now I really actually have to do this. Sometimes it's rooted in trauma. I'm afraid to make the wrong decision, so I spiral into a place where I get paralyzed and debilitated, and I can't make a decision unless a decision is give me all of it. I got to order 2 or 3 things, because if that one doesn't work, and then will people be unhappy, or will I be unhappy, and will I think I made the wrong choice? Will I wait? So it's like, what is the spiral that causes you to get there? Some people procrastinate because they know that that's what's going to happen to them, and just the idea of that becomes too much, so then they just don't make a decision at all. So it's never just a symptom in and of itself. The symptom is literally just that. I want to get to the root of what's driving that. Right? Where is the actual wound? Where is the actual injury that needs attention? But what we do is we're constantly just crashing into each other, just responding to each other's behaviors without recognizing what is the behavior telling me, right? You show me the person, I don't care about what you're showing me. I care about what's driving what it is that you're doing, because you're trying to satisfy feelings in what it is that you're doing. Yeah. So I'm always like, let's get to the root.
Do you believe that mental health issues have increased substantially since COVID?
Yes, specifically like depression and anxiety, right? We're in the middle of a loneliness pandemic. We're at a state that globally they estimate that by 2030, mental illness globally will make up roughly 18% of the total disease burden, meaning that all illnesses ever that we experience in the world, that 20% of those will be mental health conditions. Yeah. I also believe that they have the potential to be reversed or treated, but most people don't have access to the care that they need.
I believe I need the care. I started to I've had COVID 4 times, maybe 5. Okay. But for sure, I've had COVID 4 times. The very first time, I did not think I was going to survive. It was really, really bad. And each time I've gotten COVID, because I travel a lot, I'm on planes and things, each time I've gotten it since then has been a lesser and lesser or more mild case. Okay. But there's something different about me since having all of those encounters with that. And it's hard to put in words, but what I do know is that I've never suffered from like anxiety. I'm usually easy peasy, very calm. I can control my emotions. I have great emotional awareness, and sometimes those things are still true, sometimes not. But I know that I am the person, if I could explain it, if I can illustrate what I mean, like I can be smooth sailing 1 minute, and then I'll flip this whole table over the next minute. Yeah, because and that's never been me prior to ever experiencing COVID. It's really confusing.
Well, and it could be 2 things, right? So if you were working with someone, I would want you to work with a mental health provider and also a medical provider to make sure, because COVID has physiologically changed a lot of people. People don't recognize that the brain chemistry is different. I mean, we have 30-year-olds that have early onset dementia now, that have long-term COVID symptoms. So some of that may be there. I would want you to make sure that you get the whole head-to-toe screening to make sure that, you know, medically speaking, that you are cleared from anything that could be causing those impairments. The other part of that, though, too, is that you could be suffering from the emotional trauma of having a debilitating disease. You stared death in the face. You may have realized all of a sudden your mortality in ways that you never thought. And so if you haven't resolved the trauma, it lives in your body and it's always vibrating right below the surface. So you guys have to know, like, the body just processes everything as stress. And what stress is just literally the emotional and the physical pressure that the body has to survive and process constantly. Right? So if you just keep adding things without ever getting things off of you, you have but so much capacity, right? So irritability is a huge sign that there's something you're always vibrating kind of like right at 8 or 9. So you put anything on it and you hit 10 with no problem, even on things that later on you'd be like, damn, I probably shouldn't have flipped that table. Maybe I should have just been like, I could just move that over. Right?
Well, and one of the things, so I don't lash out at people. I'll flip my own table over privately. I don't do it to others. Like, I will knock all this stuff over.
So sublimation.
In my home.
So sublimation is a defense mechanism that people use where they take the emotions that they're feeling in one place and they put it somewhere else that they believe is safer. And usually we do that in like socially appropriate ways, right? So you may not necessarily punch David in the face, but you may walk back there and push something over or knock something over or even pick up the cat and toss the cat a little harder, right? So the question becomes, when you realize I have these coping strategies, do you ever stop to recognize I'm actually suffering and I don't have to live this way? Or do you just keep going, recognizing this is how I do, this is where I live now in my body?
Yeah, so I believe it's the latter. I think that I have accepted the lashing out is very, very small. Yeah. What I do the majority of the time is put my phone on Do Not Disturb 24 hours a day. Yeah. I will not answer your call. I don't care who's calling. Yeah. I won't answer the call. I won't respond until I'm ready. Yeah. And it's not an every now and then thing. Mm-hmm. That has become my regular routine.
Yeah. Which to somebody else,
my phone has been on Do Not Disturb for 4 years.
See? Which to somebody else, if they weren't really keen on that, they may look at that and go, well, good. That's a healthy coping strategy. You found a healthy boundary. But if they're not paying attention, what I just heard you say is it happened in the last 4 years, which is likely then a trauma-based response, which means that since a trauma happened, I don't have the same functionality or the same tolerance that I used to. So now I'm doing all of these things just in order to be able to continue to function and survive. And that's the thing. It's like so many of us are suffering unnecessarily because we've just gotten used to being able to deal with a certain threshold of pain. And we don't have the awareness that it doesn't have to be this way. We can be lighter. We can be happier. We can be free. We can be okay being vulnerable. We can actually feel joy. We can actually feel things besides being numb or being frustrated or being irritated or just holding on. We don't have to wake up every day and be like, I wish would. Like, I need that today. Yeah. Or, you know what? I'm going to save you. I'm going to save both of us. Like, I'm just going to check out. Like, the way that we're functioning, we could be so much better. But we just don't recognize these are functions of our health. What
is something that's easier for you to help someone else with that you can't really help yourself with? And do you have a therapist?
Yes. And I would say that if you don't have a therapist, I love to tell folks on the side, if your therapist doesn't have a therapist, run. Because there is no hierarchy to wellness. I would have a therapist and will for the rest of my life in the same way I have a primary care provider or a gynecologist or an orthopedic specialist or a rheumatologist, right? Mental health professionals are specialists. So why would you not have an expert on your team for your mental health if your mental health drives everything? Yeah. Like, I would be remiss. I mean, I would be doing myself a disservice not to have somebody that keeps my brain in check. Come on now. But to your point, what can I help other people do that I struggle with? I would say it's probably sitting still. I am that type A person like you. I have so many things that I want to do that I can go, and I often have to tell the people around me, tell me so I don't drag you with me. Right. I don't know how to be still and be okay with being still.
And how long have you been experiencing this?
Oh, since childhood. See, and that's the great thing, though, since childhood, right? So, like, I know my trauma. I know my trauma-based responses. I know how they have affected me. And what's important is I know how to use those things to empower myself, but also to be aware of those things so that I can manage them and continue to take care of myself. Yeah. Right? So I recognize as the oldest grandchild, the oldest child, having a military and law enforcement family that I come out of, being a type A person, being conditioned to be the leader, never the follower, all of those things, I realize how that has shaped who I am. And so in that self-awareness, I can look at that and go, yes, I can use these things to drive me forward. But I can also look and go, okay, baby girl, we got to pull back the reins. I also have to go, oh, that negative self-talk that tells you that you're being lazy. Nope, see, that's that condition. We're not being lazy, we're resting. And I don't have to earn this or deserve this. This is a biological imperative.
Can you rest for like a whole year?
Well, I think you have to rest. And you mean like taking a sabbatical?
Not necessarily a sabbatical, but not operating at your maximum capacity.
Yes, I think that we probably shouldn't operate at our maximum capacity. And I will say shouldn't with like the air quotations. But operating at your maximum capacity is what leads to burnout or fatigue. And most of us are not operating at our maximum capacity already. We're operating at 100% of whatever capacity we have, because too many of us are debilitated. So you got folks that are 60% functional operating at 100%. And that's why I like to tell people, you can't get rest and feel rested when it's your soul that's tired. And too many of us are exhausted at the soul level because we have so much unprocessed trauma that we are carrying in our body every day, that 60% of your energy already is just diverted every day to trying to keep that outside of your purview and not let that get you in trouble or have you overwhelmed. So you really only got 40% to really give.
Yeah.
I'm a believer. I like that.
Dr. Spirit, here's what I'd like to happen next. I need to hire you before we release this episode.
Real quick, how much is it?
It depends.
What's the range?
Well,
for him.
On the lowest end? Yeah.
No, go there. Go there. For you, I like that. I liked it with the hand movement and everything.
On the lowest end, I have clients literally that are part of my pro bono and sliding fee scale services programs. So I have some clients that I've worked with and haven't charged them a penny for years.
Why?
And on the highest end, for those that can, why? Because not everybody can afford it. But I believe that everybody deserves to have access to care. So part of the program that we have at our office, that in order for our clinicians to be a part of our family, we asked each of them to commit to at least 2 pro bono or sliding fee scale service slots in the work that they do for as long as they're with us.
So you run like a law firm, like you have other.
I have a group therapy practice, but I have a behavioral health care firm. So we have a private practice piece that we have, and we're also building out a community health services program so that we can give access to more of the community, because we really are passionate about this work. We have a media marketing and consulting arm, so we work in the entertainment and across industries and wellness spaces to deliver wellness programs. We implement wellness programs. We work in media. We work in advocacy. We do global projects. I mean, we are literally here 10 toes down in making sure that the world understands the importance of mental health.
Nice. Okay, what's the high end?
The high end, it depends. I have some clients who will be like, I need an intensive. I need to be there for a week. I need to be there for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So we have a wellness network that we have put a mental health facility at in a wellness center in the Serenbe community. And we partner with some of the vendors there to create wellness packages. And that looks like everything from intensive therapy to cryotherapy,
That's yours?
massage therapy. It's part of what we're building.
What's Serenbe?
Oh, it's a community past the airport.
And so we're in the community. It's a 2,000-acre community where 30% of it is what they're developing for living spaces, and they are working really hard to be in the next blue zone in the world. Blue zones are where centenarians, folks over the age of 100 live. So you can come down there for a week or so, drink alkaline water, farm-to-table food, get that intensive therapy for you, for your family, for your, it depends on, everybody's doing it kind of different.
Gotcha.
But it's really about how do we look at you as a whole, complete person, recognizing that mental health is health. You can't separate your mental health from your physical health. So how do we take a holistic look at who you are and restore your wellness to get you functioning at your optimal way?
So for somebody that's watching, what is the range that someone could expect to pay to get some real help from somebody good?
Yeah.
Like Zoom sessions
You
with
said
you.
from somebody good. I'm mad about that.
There's a lot of people that just aren't good, right?
Regular, like weekly sessions?
Yes. So
is that in office
outpatient.
or?
Yeah, so you're talking about regular outpatient therapy, which is weekly therapy. Yes. And so that's either in person or telehealth, so you mentioned Zoom, that's one platform, but there's tons of platforms out there. So we are on a HIPAA compliant form of Zoom. So it's encrypted from end to end and all of that stuff. So that's one of those things. But you're talking about everybody needs something different. Some people do need weekly therapy. Other folks need biweekly or monthly. Some people do maintenance where they've done intensive therapy at other parts and times in their lives and then they come back. But it ranges. And so I tell folks, never let money be the reason why you don't get therapy. But there's tons of options. If you have a job, you may use your insurance benefits. You know, yeah, we accept insurance. A lot of providers accept insurance.
That's dope.
Yeah, they have what are called EAP programs or employee assistance programs. Most employers have an employee assistance program that will literally pay for you and your entire household to have mental health sessions, therapy services. And that is another way to be able to do that. There's, like we said, pro bono, community, sliding fee scale. Like there are tons of ways to be able to do it if you have it like that, to be able to pay cash out of pocket. Like,
what's a cash out of pocket? A roundabout.
Roundabout, it depends on who it is. So
in range.
Okay, for me and Dave.
For you, I mean, I don't know your financial status, but it could be somewhere.
Is the session based on how much you make?
No, it's based upon the therapist and the specialization that you need. I mean, on a low end range, it could be $50 or $60. On a high end range, I know some therapists.
Let's
who
buy
are
all
charging,
of those spots.
Let me get all the 50s.
Let me get all of them for the rest of the year.
that may not be where you are sitting now, right? Or
Let me get all those spots.
Or that may not be the therapist that you want to work with. I mean, I know some therapists. I have colleagues that I know that are charging upwards of $500 to $800 an hour. It just depends on where they are. It depends on what the specialization is. And to your point, not all therapists are created equal, right? Like, and I wouldn't have just anybody come and see me. Right. I am a highly specialized therapist as it relates to trauma, as it relates to couples work. I am somebody that you come and see, like if you have exhausted all resources and you may not end up together as a couple, I am who you come and see. Because if it's going to cost you millions in a divorce or it's going to separate your entire family, then money is no issue at that point, right? But you don't also need somebody like me if you have some very generalized issues. I am like a person that you would come to see if you had a heart problem and you need to see the top cardiothoracic surgeon in the country, right? You're not going to go to see that person or get an appointment with that person if you don't have any issues and you just have some questions about how the heart works.
Got it.
Right.
So based on what you've learned about David and I know it's been very, very introductory.
Oh, I've learned a lot.
Would we need to see you or someone else?
For your work together? Like
No,
what would be the
individually.
goals of your work?
Separately.
And do you got any more than 50s left?
Well, I think it's interesting because one of the things that I heard David say before we actually sat down was about his access to his emotions. You asked a question. Well, you didn't ask it, but you kind of inferred. I heard a question in there about your ability to really access emotions and maybe be able to cry or to feel some things. Which, by the way, let me say, if you cannot cry, and we have been conditioned, especially as Black folks, as a function of our survival, not to cry, and having your ability to cry is one of the biggest natural defense mechanisms that your body has to keep you alive. Crying is crying is literally one of the most therapeutic things you could do to save your body's life. Like if you were to put your tears under a microscope, you would see tons of stress hormones in your body. When you cry, it literally constricts your muscles. It changes your breathing. It increases oxygen throughout your body. Like it's a natural way that your body releases tension and stress and strain and pain in order for you to still be able to function. That's why after you have a good cry, you're exhausted and you go to sleep.
You have to take a nap.
Yeah, it's a reliever. It's
You have to take a nap
stress
after
reliever.
a cry?
If you
After
have
a
a really
deep
good
cry.
one, yes.
Yeah.
Listen, if you have the
Really?
right cry, it will wipe you out. You will be like, I will
Really?
sleep like a baby after a really, really good cry.
You know, I have a thing where I cry watching
It's interesting.
movies.
Yes.
Anytime somebody else cries, whether happy or sad,
Yeah.
I am going to cry.
Well, you may have a high sense of empathy. And that's the same function as like, say, are you a person who if somebody yawns, you may yawn? Yeah, it activates your autonomic nervous system.
Yeah.
So, or you just may be a person who is really full of emotion that you have not been able to release. So the slightest bit of increased emotion will activate yours.
Yeah, I don't have a problem crying. In fact, I'm going to carry this conversation into the car and cry a little.
Are you really?
For sure.
Yeah, so
I need a
go
nap.
into the bathroom and cry. Yeah.
Hold on, you need a nap for what you're about to do? Golly. Yeah, I don't know where that's at. I want to. My friend was telling a story. It was Justin Owens, actually. He was on a panel one time. He started telling a story. He started crying. I was like, man, I want to do that. How you do that? I do.
So what that
I just
tells
don't have
me
it.
is then you are so disconnected from your emotions that you do not have the ability to recognize and access your empathy,
I
your
ain't got
pain. So I'm wondering what defense mechanisms you use for all of your pain. Where does it live? Where does it sit?
That's the thing. It's not like I go home and like push the table or anything. My life is like, it's like this. So it's, I don't know.
So we're numb. So, but when I say where does it go, I mean when you feel those experiences that you then ultimately become indifferent about, where do they get stored in your body?
How would I know that, Dr. Spirit?
Oh, we got some work to do. You would come to see me.
Is that the 50s or that ain't the 50s? That ain't the 50s.
I wouldn't.
The 50s don't fix that.
Go on. If you're applying to the look, and your folks is laughing, so I'm thinking you don't qualify. But if you are applying to that pro bono and sliding fee scale services program, they're going to ask you for your bank statements and your tax forms.
I'm not going to qualify for that.
Oh, he ain't
I
gonna-
got
Give me the
somebody who
regular.
can make those
What's
happen.
the regular? I'm not about to fix the numbers for Dr. Spirit.
We can make the tax returns look the way they need to look. Just
See,
I do.
but you may need, in all seriousness, you may need a therapist that focuses on emotionally focused or trauma focused therapy.
You do that though, right?
Yeah, I do that because you don't know necessarily how to connect and stay and live in your feelings. So it would be a lot of feelings work for you.
Can I tell you something that happened to me the other day? And it was so, it hurt so bad. This is like when I'm feeling hurt.
what?
It was crazy.
It's so bad because remember intensity.
So
you
bad.
had to feel something.
It hurt so bad.
This was, it was a moment. And I was like, whoa, what's that? Hold on, I felt something.
Yes.
I was like, what is this?
Yes.
So every day I go down into my basement and I do my morning call. I have a community, I do my call. I come upstairs, I finish getting dressed. So I get upstairs and my daughter's room is right before my room. And I look in her room and she's like in her closet, just like ruffling around. I say, good morning. She said, good morning. She's 3 years old. And I go into my room and into my closet and I like figure out what shoes I'm gonna wear. And I see her and she is fully dressed. Like she has this like jean jumper dress type outfit and her purse is like slung across. She's the cutest thing.
I love how you light up.
And I said, oh, where y'all going? So my wife normally like take them out either gymnastics or the park or something like that. I said, where y'all going? She said, Daddy, I'm going to work with you.
Aww.
And I felt a pain that I haven't felt in a long time because I knew she couldn't go to work with me. And my mind starts running her preparation process for getting ready in anticipation to go with her dad. And that was probably the closest I came to crying in a minute.
Because it hurt you that you were going to cause her to feel what in your mind?
Disappointment.
Yeah.
And like and it happened like last week, and now I can still feel that emotion, right? I can still see it, and it's like it feels it's bad. So the next day I knew she couldn't go with me, but I brought her anyway. Like just come to work with me, right? So, but the point is that it was something about that moment that I don't think I'll ever forget because I keep playing in my mind her preparation for me to let her down.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never want to feel that again. But I still have to work. So I do experience like this dad guilt stuff. And when I'm traveling, I come back and my son might know a new word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got to go to work, but do I gotta go to work?
See, these things for us to work on, and the fact that you are able to feel them in relationships that are most significant to you. So that talks to me about importance. You may also be pain avoidant, which, by the way, may be why he leaves the gym as soon as he feels the burn. Because to feel anything too intense, you don't like to feel that.
I don't.
So there's a lot that's there.
Whew.
Yeah, that's good.
It's the way that everything connects to everything in our lives. And the way that you were able to feel that for your daughter, once you get control over your feelings and managing, you said you hadn't felt that pain in a long time. So that also tells me where we have some pain points that caused us to pack our feelings away.
Yeah.
So to be able to heal and resolve those things would actually give you your feelings back, and allowing you to be more sensitive would actually make you better in the jobs that you do and how you navigate the world.
I got so excited because it was like, oh, wow, there are some feelings in there.
Yeah.
I felt that.
Yeah. So you want them.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Not well, yeah, yes, but my inability to feel
You don't have an
protects me.
inability to feel.
Well, not my inability.
There you go.
The
Say
things
that
that
again.
don't.
I stepped on you. Say that again. Your inability to feel.
It protects me.
And I would submit to you that your inability to feel is robbing you of your
Oh
life.
my God.
I don't know. We got to get into a session to find out. I don't agree.
There is a belief system that as long as I don't feel, then I'm safe. And what I will tell you is, as long as you don't feel, you will never get this time back in your life. It is robbing you of your ability to experience the world.
Or it's protecting me from the ability. Like there are people that get hurt emotionally all day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah, I get you. So your coping mechanism is to swing all the way to the other end of the pendulum and to feel nothing most of the time.
So the trick is to find the middle ground.
The
So those
sweet
people are
spot.
broken as well. They're like, I feel everything. And I'm
Well,
ready.
listen,
I'm on the other end of the extreme.
We're
right?
all broken in varying ways. The key is to find the place, the sweet spot that gives you your fullest functionality.
Yep.
That says, not only can I have access to every feeling that I am entitled to as a human being, but I can manage it and I can live my life in ways that allow me to enhance and feel everything that I want and control and yield all the things that I don't.
So good.
Right? It's wielding your feelings. It is crafting and empowering yourself to have the life that you want by being so connected to your feelings that you can respond to them in the ways that you need to. And that is what allows you to thrive. Right
good.
now, you are debilitated from a place of protection, not even realizing that it's not even allowing you to live.
Wow. Wow.
And so I just want you to be aware of that. And you've been functioning that way for a long time since you felt some things that made you decide, I never want to feel this again. It's robbed you of everything.
I'm convinced. I didn't believe in therapists.
You believe?
I did. I believe. Now I believe now.
Can we get him on the calendar first?
You call the office, and I want you to know, really, that there is no magic or mysticism to what we do. We are scientifically trained people. I mean, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I have a master's degree in professional counseling. I have a master's degree in philosophy, which is a research degree. And I have a PhD in general psychology with a specialization in research methods and evaluation. I'm not like some influencer or somebody that's pulling something out of my ass. I am rooted in science. These are scientific principles in order to help you live your best life. Just like a cardiologist or an ophthalmologist or an otolaryngologist or a gynecologist.
What was that last
behavioral
is?
health.
The otolaryngologist.
An otolaryngologist.
What do
an
they do?
ENT, an
Oh,
ear,
for the
nose,
throat.
ear
Okay.
It's like
doctor.
ear, throat.
You got
Yes.
as soon as she said
Yes.
laryngologist, that part, I knew exactly that it had something to do
You
here.
started doing like this.
Yeah, I started doing that.
I thought she was talking about sex therapy. That was going to be something different. She started doing she said the
Do you do
larynx
that?
and all of that. Yes, I do. I love the sex parts. I used to have a sex talk show for
Come on,
many
man. She got
years.
7
Really?
kids.
Oh,
yeah.
Come
Oh,
on.
yeah.
She know a
And I
little
got
something about
She
it.
know a
Yes.
She know a little something about it.
Yes.
Like experience.
And decided when I was going to have all of them. That's a whole different conversation.
Sheesh.
So, yes.
Dr. Spirit,
I'm very
thank you.
good. It's science, though. And I want you to know, we're behavioral health specialists. We are specialists of your brains. We are the feelings doctor that help you live your very best life.
This is good. Thank you so much. This was
pleasure.
very
My
yeah.
pleasure.
You
I feel
picked up a
helped.
couple clients from this
You
podcast.
picked up some
for sure.
clients, and your wait list, if there is one,
There
is
is.
likely going to be insane. We appreciate you in advance for the ability to bypass said wait list.
Oh yeah, for sure. Can we get the fast track?
Listen, we got some things. And remember, I'm part of a group and I know a lot of great people. But seriously, I truly believe that everybody needs therapy.
I only trust you though.
Well, then you come on.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't.
We'll talk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. How can people get in touch with you? How can they book? How can they?
They can get in touch with me. Well, all of my social media, they can find me at Talk to Spirit everywhere. It's Talk, the number 2 Spirit. If they want to call us at the office, it's 888-718-2T2S. 888-718-2T2S. Or for my international folks, because y'all might be global, y'all got a whole thing. It's +1. Yeah, I know. I'm seeing 404-914-4782. And I will say it's not, in competition, but we do a live mental health conversation every Friday at noon.
Really?
So, yeah, I do this for an hour. I've been doing it for 9 years now.
Where is that?
It's on all the social media platforms.
So you'll go live?
I go live at noon every single Friday, and they can ask their own questions. I answer them live right there.
Let's go. Sign me up.
We're all about mental health. We should do like one of those collabs sometime.
I'm with
Let's
that.
do it.
Let your folks ask questions.
The
so
week that this
theirs.
episode drops, which will probably be in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. Whenever. It's
I don't know, but let's
talk
about it.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll figure it out.
Let's talk about it.
I'll still be dealing with my trauma, guys, so it'll be fresh.
Let your folks ask their own questions.
Yeah.
Their own access.
So do me a favor, y'all. This, like if you're watching this or listening to this, your Instagram is just Dr. Spirit, right?
No,
Talk to Spirit.
Talk to Spirit.
Talk to Spirit everywhere.
The number 2.
The number 2 Spirit.
Talk to Spirit. Make sure y'all send her a DM. Let her know that you saw this, okay? Let her blow up her DM saying thank you. I got some information. I want some help. So
I don't do therapy
so
in my DMs though, so please
No,
don't
tell me.
For sure.
Don't tell me that you're suicidal in my DMs.
You have to schedule an appointment.
Call the office.
Call the
if you
office.
need therapy.
And as usual, you guys, wherever you are watching this, please comment your biggest takeaway from this conversation and let us know if you're ready, if this is what you needed to push yourself over that edge to take a leap out there on mental health therapy. Are you ready? Are you about to now start prioritizing your own mental health and seek therapy, not just your friends? Let us know in the comments.
Let's go. Like, subscribe, share, comment. We appreciate the support, y'all.
See y'all next week. Peace. Bye.
You just watched this whole episode. If you like this episode, watch this one right here. Click right here. You're going to like this one if you like the one you just watched. Check it out.